Great. So just to do, I guess, a quick intro, Sean is with Propertyhero, which is a very unique asset management and maintenance software that homeowners and real estate investors can use to really either grow their real estate business, and homeowners can use this product to not only streamline insurance claims, but just to have peace of mind that the assets and the things that are really important to them, when I say asset, anything that's valuable to you within your home, you can really have it protected and organized in what we'd like to say a digital file cabinet. And that's what Propertyhero is all about. So, with that said, Sean, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Catherine. Good afternoon to all. My name is Sean McLaurin. I'm currently in San Diego, California. But I grew up on the East Coast, near Syracuse and Utica and upstate New York. So know the area well. Like Catherine said, I've been involved with Property Hero for about 2 years now. Prior to that, I worked for Oracle for about 20 plus years and another Thermo Fisher Scientific for about 7 years. And what struck me about Property Hero is that they were in the asset management business, which, Oracle and Thermo Fisher were both in the asset management businesses for small to medium-sized businesses and large enterprise businesses. But what I saw was really missing in the market is something to manage assets if you're just an individual homeowner, if you own rental properties, if you're like a small bit gym or commercial type business. I saw that the market was really missing that type of solution. So that's what really interested me in Property Hero, and I got to meet Catherine and Brett and Wendy and the team. So here we are. And when I got involved with Property Hero about a year or so ago, the UI was pretty lacking. So that's why we were struggling to really gain some customers and some traction. So what we've really done the last year or so is get a lot of input from different customers and, really work with some UI experts to really come back and say, if you want a homeowner to really put time into entering their assets, what are they really looking for? How can we really, make the data entry easier and really deliver on the experience that we're talking about for our customers? So let me go ahead and share my screen, Catherine, and we can talk a little bit about what Property Hero is and actually go through a little bit of a demo.
Yeah. And while you share your screen, I'll just add for agents that are listening in that when you're supporting a client, whether you're on the buy side or the sales side, the relationship you build after that deal is done is so important. And the way I see Propertyhero kind of fitting into your overall sales strategy is really coaching clients on the fact that if they buy a property and they intend to renovate it, enhance it, buy new appliances, or if it's even making sure they power wash their home, they clean their gutters, they mow the lawn, whatever the case may be, all of these routine maintenance tasks or the ability just to log these assets and appliances somewhere is going to really just help you maintain the value of your home and sell it for the best possible dollar when you turn around and want to sell it one day.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a key point, Catherine. I mean, you look at just our initial slide, we spent a while coming up coming up with their tagline: simplify, safeguard, and manage your property and assets. And it really is a mouthful, but really it does make sense because in some ways, we're all trying to help safeguard you. I mean, everybody on the Property Hero team has had an insurance nightmare where we've had some issues with our property, a flood, a fire, different damage, and we've gone through issues just trying to get reimbursement from the insurance company, trying to prove what it was we had that was lost, trying to prove what the value of that item was. So that's what we help me as far as helping safeguard and simplify that end of it. But also, it's just nice as far as a homeowner to look at your property and know what assets do I have. And not only what assets, like Catherine was saying, what is the maintenance schedule? At Thermo Fisher, we made asset management systems for laboratories. And it's very important for all that laboratory equipment to get it checked out every week. You had to have the microscope finally tuned. You had to have different chemicals to run the different equipment. So it's the same thing with your home. You have AC units, you got furnaces, you got different assets in your home that require regular maintenance. And so Property Hero helps you not just catalog the assets you have, but also help you with different maintenance schedules to make sure that you're getting your assets maintained in the proper time and you really get the maximum value out of your assets. So, when we first started looking at Property Hero, this is sort of what we saw was the markets for our solution. I mean, we already talked about homeowners, both individual homeowners and short-term rentals, and we all know about the Airbnb rental market. So these are the different markets we're looking at going into. I realize the call today is really more on specific homeowners, but all of us know homeowners who also go to churches, who also have kids in school, who also maybe have a secondary properties that they rent out. So this solution really speaks toward a lot of us in everyday life. And these are just a few numbers to back up, what we see as what our market is. So at a high level, if they say there's 85 million homeowners out there and only 10% of those homeowners would ever even think about a solution like this, that means there's 8.5 million people who would consider a solution like Propertyhero, and potentially that's, $94 million in revenue. So this is a deck we made up to help go over with our investors, why should you invest in Propertyhero and what solution we're making to help address this market. Let me skip through the next couple of slides and just go through what is Propertyhero. So what we want to give the user when they first sign in is a nice dashboard. You taking the time to put your assets in, to make the different maintenance schedules for your asset. What are you going to see when you first log in? And at our sample house here, you can see that you have 23 different assets in your house. They're worth $5,400. They give you a little pie chart that, your assets, you have electronics, you got appliances, you got like collectibles, and here's the different rooms they're in. Here's the different tasks you have, and maybe look at your calendar. So this particular user has not just their own private property, they also have a couple of rental properties that they're renting out. So they can not only see tasks as far as maintenance tasks, they can also see when they got famous guests like Taylor Swift and Al Pacino checking into their residences. So, what you can see from this screen is just very high level. You see, what assets you have and the value of. You can see any maintenance request. Our solution also allows you to, automate workflow. So if you have, if a toilet needs needing fixed and you have a plumber in your service provider list, that plumber can automatically be notified that this toilet needs to be fixed, and you can work with them to schedule an actual fixing of that toilet. So we'll go a little bit more later into an actual demo, but this is high level, what we're trying to provide our users as far as an experience, right off the get-go as far as a dashboard, and then drilling into your assets, your properties, and all the other good stuff. So one thing I learned about being in sales is you have to answer the question why. What is in it for me? So when we look at the homeowner market, which is where we're going after initially, for the homeowner itself, it's insurance claims. What we've all learned, if you have proper documentation, what was the purchase cost? Do I have a receipt? Do I have some maintenance records for this? Your insurance company is going to ask for all that. If you have a theft, if you got flood, fire, any type of damage, and you go to your insurance company and you want to get covered for it, their first thing they're going to ask is, do you have pictures of it? Do you have any documentation of it? Do you have a receipt from where you bought it from? All that is in the digital file cabinet. We all know people who've had some of those receipts, but they're in a shoebox. And guess what? That shoebox got burned in the fire along with everything else. So this gives you a digital copy of all your assets, pictures of your assets, receipts for your assets, and also helps the insurance provider too. They don't have to sort of, go back and forth and nickel and dime with the customers. The customer has already proven, I have these assets. Here's the value of these assets. Here's an actual picture of it sitting on my bedroom shelf. So where's my money? So it really helps the overall, communication transaction, and as far as proper homeowners and the insurance company as far as getting claims taken care of in types of damage or theft. And here's a real quick screenshot of how easy it is. You just go through your list of assets. Maybe you tag the assets that were lost in your fire, flood, or theft. I'll come back and give you a loss report. You lost these 4 items, total value $7,600. You're filing it with State Farm. Here's some different notes you have, and it's as simple as that. So go ahead, Catherine.
I'll also just add here for, anyone's clients or like a residential homeowner, when we're saying assets, this could also include like an expensive piece of jewelry that you have insured. This could include an expensive piece of artwork that's in your home. Asset can be a confusing term. It's truly something that matters, that's of value, that you want to protect in the event of some sort of disaster or theft in your home, that you want to just ensure you don't have an issue with if you do have to lean back on your insurance.
Yeah.
Outside of Propertyhero, also helping you just sustain the value of your home through doing the reoccurring maintenance, whether it's monthly, annually, quarterly, etc. You'll have everything tracked.
Yep, exactly. So I'm just going to jump into a demo because I think the demo does a good job showing what Catherine was just explaining. What is an asset? Because that's the first question I had too. What is an asset? But before I jump, is there any questions from the audience as far as anything I've talked about so far? No. Okay. So I showed a quick picture of this in the PowerPoint. This is, a live demo. So you sign into the main application, and I've actually put my house and a couple other fictional properties out here. So it gives me a quick breakdown of the assets I've entered. 15 of them are in my main home, and a couple of other ones are in some other test properties I'm working on, gives me a breakdown of all the different assets I have. I guess I got some valuables, I got some things in my structure, I got some things in my electronics. So just give me a quick little dashboard. Yeah, I got 17 total assets, $166,000 worth of assets. So one area this also comes in play is, you think about home insurance. When people insure their homes, probably 90% of what they're basing their insurance value on is the value of their house. Well, guess what? You have, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of assets inside your house. It has nothing to do with your property value, but guess what? It better be involved in your insurance value. So you can get a quick overview of what's your total assets you have and how, what they're worth. And like Catherine was saying, maybe what is an asset? Well, it's things like your AC unit. Guess what? That AC unit is supposed to give me service twice a year. Are you doing that twice a year? Do you have any maintenance records for it? You got dishwashers. What's the number one cause of floods in houses? This guy right here. Do you have the name of the plumber who installed that in case your insurer wants to come after you for having it not installed properly? You want to make sure you have documentation on who installed the dishwasher to make sure. So, again, these are a list of all the different assets. Like Catherine was saying, sometimes you got some really expensive valuables. Maybe I collect Monet, so I got that on my living room wall. So, and you can see that there's also not just tracking, you can give it a nickname, you can, it's stored on my different properties. I can tell what room it is. We call it a space, but really there are different rooms within the property because sometimes, it's in your attic, which isn't really a room. What's the value of these different assets? You can sort them and look through that. So just very quickly, you can see from this asset listing screen, what assets you have on your one or more properties.
What I'll highlight here really quickly too under assets is when you think of clients, if you're an agent that works with investors, even if it's just one rental property or they own a multifamily property, this is huge for investors because as you start managing tenants, you're essentially trying to get ahead of problems. You don't want to get a call at midnight that something's going on, right? So the better you manage these assets, the less issues your tenants are going to have, and you're not going to hear from them. And this is a proactive way to manage your property so that tenants are happy, and you obviously get top dollar for your rental properties. Outside of that, I'd say to agents that are working in the luxury real estate space, luxury clients, maybe it's, new development, maybe it's a client that just built a new home or renovated their home. They want a way to show the premiums that they paid for that they feel like they're owed back. Now, that's really hard in real estate because we know the market depicts pricing, not the premiums that people pay. However, Propertyhero is a way for a seller to clearly show transparency in the work they did. So I would love to hear agents' feedback on that because while we can't change the market, when you have sellers who really want to show the level of work they did to their home, from top tier appliances to the best countertops to the best floors, whatever it might be, this is the way that they can prove it. Propertyhero has some fantastic reporting features as well. So I just wanted to hone in on that, the asset lens and how it can apply to agents too.
Yeah, that's perfect, Catherine. I mean, that's one thing I always wish I had when I moved into this house is, you move into a house and there's wood floors, there's a water heater, there's cabinets, there's counters. And, I have no idea, where are those floors? I had to go contact the previous homeowner to find out, okay, they're Garrison floors. They're called Rodeo Drive. So if I ever wanted to get them fixed, I know exactly what the type is. Solar panels, who installed those. So lots of times when people move into a new house, it'd be great if I could find out all the different structural items that I'm inheriting as far as that house, maybe even the paint color for the walls, because I need to. So, one thing we envision in the future for Property Heroes is if I sell a house, I can actually give my listing agent, my Property Hero rendition of the house, and they can actually use it to help, convince future home buyers. Look at all the assets you get within this house. You got, 5-year-old wood floors. You got a 10-year-old solar panels from Solar Run. You got, you got all this stuff that sort of comes with it, structural assets with the house. And it also makes it easier for the new homeowner to maintain if you sort of know where all these assets came from.
Yep, 100%.
So going back to, I initially came in on the dashboard, you can walk through properties. As I was saying before, I sort of working with two main properties. Again, I'm doing some testing, so I'm testing long field names to sort of see how this works. But I go into my main house here, I can see right off the bat, this house has 15 assets, $25,000 worth of assets in there. I have some more information about the house itself. What is this purchased for? What's the current, value of it? How many square feet? Um, and then, for both properties and assets, we allow you to do uploads. So we talked about the need to have, documentation. So, I built an addition in 2011. I have the house blueprint from after the addition. I also have the blueprint from, before the addition. So I can show people this is what the house looked like, prior to the addition, and we gained this additional, this additional space. I have rooms, which we recently nicknamed spaces in our house. So, I can quickly see where do I have the most value of my assets. Now let's look outside. Oh, geez, I got solar panels, Ring camera, and an AC unit all outside. So you can very quickly look around your property. And one thing you may not have noticed also is we have these nice little breadcrumbs up here. So property, main home, like going to the garage, I can always go back to my main home, go back to my property list. So it's just very data driven as far as the way you're able to navigate around here. I can again go back to my home, go into the garage, see an asset I want to go look at, Mike's hockey gear, and click on that. And then again, just like the property listing, this gives me everything about my hockey gear. It's in my main house, it's in my garage. A quick look at the different categories we have. So we think it really helps homeowners to be able to categorize your assets when it comes down to reporting, like that pie chart you saw. So we have, different areas like electronics, tools and machinery, vehicles, furniture, valuables, safety, appliances, and of course, things that belong to structure like paint and flooring and roofing and all of that thing. So we give you a lot of different flexibility as far as how to categorize your assets out there. And so we talked a lot about how, when you have different issues, with the insurance company, they want to make sure you have different documentation. So here's a furnace I got installed at my house last year. I have a receipt for it. I got the permit we drew for it. I have the installation job overview. So if there's ever any issue with this particular furnace, I have, again, I have a receipt for it. I can show the actual permit that we drew from the city if the city has any questions about it. And, I actually had an annual maintenance this year. So once that's done, I can file that annual maintenance away and be able to prove that I'm getting the annual maintenance on my HVAC unit.
This is great. Sean, really quickly before you go on, we had Callan, hi Callan, and Nicole join the call. Any initial questions? I know you missed the early start, and please, no worries, but we were chatting about ways agents can utilize this tool, working with homeowners, also working with investors, and working in the luxury market. So if you have anything you want us to focus on or mastermind around, please, unmute yourself and just chat away. We'd love to hear from you as well. Great.
So yeah, so like any document you upload is interactive, so you can click on it, look through it. Here's the inspection report that was uploaded to the city. You print it out if anybody has any questions about it. So those are the two main areas that we see appealing to homeowners is properties. You may have one or more properties, maybe more if you rent some of your properties out and you have assets on your different properties. So those are the main capabilities we see speaking toward homeowners. As we said, your assets can have different maintenance tasks. So maybe those maintenance tasks will start showing up on here. So you can see for each task, what property is it affiliated with? And maybe it's actually further affiliated with an asset on that property. So, I got to get new tent stakes for my tent. I got to get the annual maintenance on my front furnace, the fall maintenance on my back AC unit. So you can very quickly see, what tasks are out there for this. And the last thing is a different calendar. So again, one of our markets is the rental property market. So I could be able to see, when different people are staying at my house, and I can also see if I'm getting the toilet fixed on this day. I want to make sure I'm not renting out my condo on this day because I'm getting some maintenance repairs done on this particular day. So make sure I don't start renting out until the 9th. So that's pretty much it as far as the main capabilities. And again, you can always go back to the dashboard and it shows you, everything. It shows you, number of properties you have, shows you high level, assets, how many you have, value them, gives you a quick overview of the different tasks. You got one overdue, one due today, one upcoming. They're all hyperlinked, so I can click on this one and go directly to that particular task. I can go to that home. So I'll go ahead and stop there. I can talk forever about this, but I know that we have a pretty, distinct audience here as far as real estate agents and maybe particular things you're looking for or not looking for. So I'll go ahead and stop and see if there's any questions, any additional things people want me to show, or people just want me to shut up.
Yeah, any comments, thoughts?
Can you go through how to like open a new task or add a task?
Yeah. So I'm here on this screen. Want to add a new task? Mine. If I could spell, it'd be great, but they don't pay me enough for that. There we go. And I can just say, when's it due? It's going to be due on the 23rd at maybe 1 p.m.
Okay.
I can assign it to a property. It's on my main house. Maybe I assign it's for my Ring camera. It's a high priority. And I do want to display it on the calendar. So there it is. You see it showing up here. It's on the main home or Ring camera. And I go up to the calendar here and it shows up on my calendar here too.
Okay, great.
Is that what you're looking for? And any
Well, as far as the assets go under that, I'm just because you mentioned the rental market, I'm just wondering like leasing and stuff like that, if you can assign the task to like re-signing a lease or that sort of thing.
Oh, that I could see. So if you wanted to renew like an annual lease agreement, you
Yes,
better
yeah. If there's a lease that is being needing to be renewed or is running out or whatever.
so you I yeah. So
yeah, you could have it. Go ahead.
if that property was in Property Hero, you would, put lease agreement renewal, put it for, maybe a month before the lease is about to run up or 60 days before the lease is about to run up. Uh,
Hmm.
Set yourself the task and it would remind you to go back and do that lease agreement. If you're looking for an automation where the system spits out a lease directly to the tenant, we're not quite there yet. I can have Sean speak more to that, but you could
Hmm.
definitely set yourself really any task reminder and it'll
Okay.
populate. You'll get an email and a text notification. It'll pull up in your dashboard. So you'll know when to circle back with that tenant for that lease whenever you
Okay.
ask due. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see, I created another task here, but I did not associate it with an asset. It's associated with Roseville, but it's not associated with an asset. So I could renew lease and maybe the person who's leasing it, Susan. So I just put that on there, hit
Hmm.
create. And so when I go back to my properties here, go back to Roseville, you can see now that it's showing up here on the main property on the task. I
Okay.
have 225 renew lease. It's showing up here on the task for that property. So the task can be owned by a property itself, or it can be owned by a task within the property. So either way, tasks are pretty flexible. So for the particular use case you mentioned, I think this task would just be affiliated with the property. And we're going to have
Hmm.
recurring tasks too. So you can say this occurs every year on October 25th.
Hmm. Okay, great. Great.
Anything else?
Anything missing from here that people would like to see? And if people were having like this, anything that you're not seeing that you would wish you'd have if you had an asset management system for your house or your rental properties? Nope.
Sean, maybe go back into assets and show really quickly how to add an item into the system.
Oh, okay, sure. So let's go ahead and add an asset out here. Anything anybody wants to add? Be a ceiling fan. Got really hot this summer. I guess that would probably be, oh, good. Actually, where would that be? Appliance other. We'll call it appliance other. I could say it's in my main home and it's in my family room. So that's pretty much all you do. If I had an image for it, I could go choose an image. I don't have an image, but let me just sort of pretend I have one. Um, okay, well, the Padres were just in the playoffs, so I just had a picture of them. I hit continue here. So I'm not going to give it any specifications. I'm going to say maybe it was purchased for $600. It was purchased from Lowe's. So I can enter as much or as little data as I want. I mean, one thing we're trying to deal with is we got some people who want to put in every single field, serial number, model number, date purchase, all this stuff. Some people just want to say, I got the picture and that's it. So good. So that was good. Now, I got ceiling fans in my main room. It's worth $600. And if I really had a picture for that fan, that would be here. But since I don't, this is a picture I took the other day of the sculpture of a that somebody put a Padres uniform on. Oh.
Very nice. Easy.
So I'm thinking for investors, also if there is some way for the system for each of their properties to calculate the cash on cash value or the internal rate of return, something like that in each of their properties really quickly, that might be very helpful for them. Because I've worked with investors who do not understand some of that off the, how to do the numbers for that. If they're newer investors or whatever. So it might be easier. I mean, it might be easier for them to have that all in one place.
We
I don't
talked
know.
before. That's interesting. So
Mhm.
let me pick your brain on that. We talked about doing an integration with like a Zillow to get an estimate of like, and Zillow's not accurate, but just for this purpose, like an estimate of what the property's value is today, and it would change with the market. But you're
Mhm.
suggesting it was almost like the value of their home, also in conjunction with whatever revenue against their expenses is.
Yes, correct. So that they can see if this is a property that is still, something they should keep or something they should let go of now.
I'll show Sean a calculator, like almost like calculating a cap rate with the percent rate of return along with like their net income.
Well, there's the cap rate, but then there's also the two that most people use. I mean, yeah, cap rate a lot of times is for like commercial properties, but if you're looking at homes, you want the cash on cash or the internal rate of the IRR. So those are just two different calculations that you'd
Yep.
want to have.
Yeah, all that's possible with the right data. I mean, if people want to give us, what's the value of their rental property, how much they're paying per month in rental and mortgage, how much you actually bring in every month in rent. So we could put all those numbers together. I mean, again, it's just, what are you paying out in mortgage? What are you bringing in rent? What are you
Mm-hmm.
paying out to go and furnish the place and do all the different stuff? What are you paying to actually market the place on Airbnb? So you'd want to come back and say, hey, am I actually making any money after I pay all this stuff out or not? I mean, I think that's what you're asking. We talked about that about 6 months ago because, like I said, initially we were thinking about going after the rental market first before the homeowner market. So that's definitely
Mm-hmm.
our drawing board. We'll say if you own one property, fine, but if you own multiple properties, we'll give you this calculator to go back and find out, are you actually making a profit off your secondary rental properties? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you were on for the first slides. Being one thing we're doing as companies, we have multiple markets we can go after, and each market has slightly different nuances they want for that market. So the homeowner market is slightly different than the rental market, which is slightly different than the gym and commercial market. So we made a
Mm-hmm.
business decision to go after the homeowner market first. There's 85 plus million individual homeowners, and like I said, we all have our own personal stories of having property damage at our house and having some quote unquote horror stories working with our insurance company to try and get reimbursement. So we figured that'd be the area we wanted to go after first.
Okay.
Thanks for the feedback. That's great feedback.
Yeah.
Anything else? Comments, thoughts before we wrap up? All right.
I
Well,
guess just a quick show of hand, or this is feedback. I mean, how many people on this call would actually, take the time to go at and enter this? I mean, that's one of the biggest barriers to entry we've talked about internally in our team is this is great, but
Mm-hmm.
do people really want to take the time to go back and put in all this stuff? And one of the things we're working on right now is some AI tools where you can literally walk through your house, take a picture of a room, and it'll come back and tell you the assets in a room. You can take a picture of the barcode on something, it'll come back and tell you it's a it's a Bosch dishwasher, 800, series 800, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So that will help with some of the data entry. What is it, any thoughts from the audience as far as, yeah, I would put the data entry in if I knew it would help me in an insurance situation, or you know what? I don't want to put all this stuff in. It's too much work.
So, but there's a way to just like snap a picture and just upload it straight from your phone, right? Like if I just took a picture, went around my house, took a picture and just uploaded it and assigned it to a room. And like, let's say my refrigerator, I just want my serial number tag.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we're
Does
working
it?
on right now. It'll come
Okay.
back with a list of what it finds. And you can say, I do want to keep the refrigerator. I do want to put the dishwasher, but no, that little salt, pepper shaker. No, I don't want to put the salt and pepper shaker in.
Okay. Does with that picture thing, if you put in the serial number, does it like bring it up on from the web what the value of that is currently, or
We're working on that right now. Right
okay.
now, the barcoding works to actually tell you all the different metadata around it. So it knows the brand, the model, the serial number, all that good stuff. But we're also extending it now to go back up and look at the user guides. So it can tell you the different user guides for that. Maybe you
Okay.
can look at the current market value for it. So there's lots of things we can do with AI. Once we get that basic information, we can scour the web for some additional information. So there's sort of two aspects of the AI. One is taking a picture of a room and getting a list of the assets, but no real metadata on it. The other
Mhm.
is scanning the actual barcode on the asset itself, and that can find a lot of information about it.
Yeah, because I think that would be easier for people if people could just scan barcodes when they're getting stuff or whatever. Um, I don't know that I personally would input everything that I own into something like this, but I do know people who would. I mean, I did date someone for a while before I got married who had a stuff book that he did something very similar and had a binder. So, I mean, there are people out there who will.
Yep. Yep. No, that's what our research has found too, is, you got, maybe 5, 10% of these homeowners that they have an Excel spreadsheet. They got a shoebox, they got a stuff book, they got something, but they're keeping track of it. And you may not keep track of like your circular saw and your tent, but you may keep track of your HVAC unit, your TV, your
Mhm.
computer, a few different high dollar value items.
Sure.
So, I realize the stuff I'm putting in, not everybody's going to want to put their tent in asset management,
Mm-hmm.
but people may want to track, their wood floors, the dishwasher, their AC units, things like that.
Mm-hmm. I could see this being particularly helpful if you could get new builders, new home construction builders on board with inputting all of the things that they use for their homes into this for the new build
Yes, exactly.
residential properties.
This is, I remember when I bought this house, I was given a PDF document. That's what started
Yeah,
building on the
it's
house.
so old school.
Old school. If I bought a new house and the builder said, "Hey, we give you a Property Hero account, all your furniture, all the stove, countertops, cabinets, bathroom, everything's in Property Hero already seated for you." Boom. God, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would be. I've done a couple new development deals here in New York City, and I don't believe my buyer clients were really handed much other than what.
Mm-mm. No, they aren't. Half the time, they don't have any clue what anything is.
Yeah, yeah, they get instructions on like how to use the oven. That's about.
Yeah, and especially if you're working with a smaller builder too, it's like
I know, but even
what
there hasn't been a solution to deliver somebody
Mhm.
new development something this robust when it comes to the appliances that they bought and put in the home. The buyer just kind of like run with it.
Mhm.
So I agree with you. I think this would be ideal for new development.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, speaking back to the earlier comment I made, we realize that the biggest barrier to entry is data entry. I mean, people sometimes don't. But then again, if you say, hey, maybe the home builder themselves will put it in. Maybe if you're a real estate agent and you're trying to sell the house, you may hire somebody to go in and catalog the house for you. So, let's say, Catherine, you're selling a house. Nicole, you're her agent. You may pay somebody, Nicole, to go in and catalog Catherine's house. So you could tell
Mhm.
your potential home buyers, guess what? those cabinets. So this is the Tampa cabinets, this is the plumbing, this is the HVAC. So not only are you buying a house, we're actually giving you just, very specific information about this house you're buying, maintenance schedules for all the needed assets, blah, blah, blah. So everybody wins. You get some little homeowner, new homeowner, get some little, some guy come in and catalog it for them. Little side job. So. Cool. Any other questions, thoughts, funny jokes? Oh, damn, let's go home for some funny jokes. Need some of those.
I know asset management doesn't make me think of funny jokes, but that's okay.
Very true, Catherine. Very true.
Well, hey, I really appreciate everyone's time joining the webinar. I think this is just a really cool topic and something that agents can have in their back pocket as a unique suggestion, value proposition when clients are asking for help. Clients ask us for help all the time. This is something really cool that you can promote if it's obviously for the right client based on their personality, what they have in their home, and what their goals are with home ownership or investment. So thanks everyone. Thank you, Sean, so much for the presentation.
Okay. Thanks all. Thanks for organizing this, Catherine.
My pleasure. Bye.
Take care.
Night.